Clinique, Charlotte Tilbury, Hourglass, It Cosmetics. Which of those brands includes my faves or my fails? If you'd like to find out, I'll be revealing all. Hello and welcome everybody, and thank you for joining me. So let us start at the very beginning, a very good place to start, to coin a phrase. And I want to first mention not just a product, but a type of product that I've never really used consistently before, and that is a primer. And the primer I'm talking about in this instance is the Smashbox Photo Finish Primerizer, this one here. Now, I am very late to the party in primers. In fact, I think I did try a couple and wasn't terribly impressed with them, but maybe I didn't give them a good go and maybe I didn't really understand exactly what they could do for me. And for me, the main reason for wearing a primer is the longevity of my foundation. In other words, the long wear of my foundation. And I have found this primerizer to be absolutely invaluable because I've had some events to go to, and I won't bore on about them because I know some of my subscribers are bored hearing about them. But I have been to at least one event where I needed my foundation and my makeup to last all day, and this primerizer absolutely did the business. It's beautiful. It's not cheap. I've not ever bought a Smashbox product before, and that's partly because they're not that easy to get hold of in the UK where I'm based. But let me just show you what it looks like. So it's a kind of a milky formula, but very, very light. It absorbs nicely onto the skin. You can wear it all over your face. I have tried it on my eyelids, which I'm afraid didn't work. I tried that yesterday and it just didn't work. And by the way, if you know of any eyelid primer that will sort out my very oily lids, particularly the creases, then please let me know. Now that's dried instantly actually, and it's slightly tacky, which is a good thing because it means that the foundation will adhere. It means that the foundation will adhere nicely to the skin, and it's a little bit tacky, and now it's started to lose its tackiness a bit, so it's not completely smooth, but it feels really lovely on the skin. I highly recommend it. It's not something I'd wear all day, but if I want my makeup to last all day and to look good all day, then that is my go-to primer. Now, another product that isn't really makeup, but it's something that I put on my lips as I'm making myself up, or at least when I put my skincare on before I make myself up, and that is Lancino HPA Lanolin Nipple Cream. Now, I did mention this briefly in my video that I did recently, Get Ready With Me for New Year's Eve. And one of my fantastic subscribers, who's been such a help to me in so many ways, recommended this for your lips, for dry lips, because my skin's been really dry of late, and honestly it's absolutely the business. Now when you first get it out, in fact when I first got a bit out of the tube, I thought, gosh, this is so thick, but you just need a tiny bit, oops, because it's very sticky. So it's not unlike putting Vaseline on, but it's got an extra oomph. It's thicker in a way. It's more, not viscous, that's not the right word exactly, but it's got more punch, as it were, and it really does work. I never used a nipple cream, I have to say, back in the day, but honestly it works an absolute treat. It really does. It's very reasonably priced. It's from Amazon, or at least that's where I bought it, and it's clear. I mean, you could just wear this all day. In fact, you could probably put a pencil on your lips and then add this on top or underneath. Don't know, I haven't exactly tried that, but it really does the business. My lips have been so much better since I started using this only a couple of weeks ago, but really it's made a huge difference and I highly recommend it. Now let's go on to makeup proper. And I'm going to talk about a foundation that I have used and talked about before, but it's still the best foundation for me. It's the one I reach for, not on a daily basis, although I think I'm going to have to do that because I've actually had it since August 2022 and it's probably on its way out. I mean, I know it's almost finished anyway, but it's difficult to see because this is the bottle here. And it is the Hourglass Foundation. And by the way, all the products that I talk about in this video will be listed and linked below. Now, this is the only foundation that I've ever had compliments about, and from people who don't normally compliment me. I think it's because it gives a natural yet medium coverage, and it's got a glow about it. It's not matte, but it's not too shiny either. It just gives the best coverage and the best enhancement, if you like, of my complexion. And I'm in the shade 7.5. Now, I was actually given 2 shades to try when I bought it last year by the counter staff because I just wanted to try it to see whether I liked it or not. And so she gave me an 8 and a 7.5, and the 7.5 was the one that worked for me. So here it is. Let me just, oh, it just feels so beautifully velvety on the skin. It just absorbs nicely. It doesn't sit on the skin. I use my BK Beauty 101 brush, which I've talked about many times on this channel, which I absolutely love. And then I finish it off with a damp beauty sponge, and it just gives the most beautiful coverage. Now, I know some people, I think particularly Kiki from the Hooded Lid and also Charlotte Holdcroft, I think they both said, although I think Charlotte does like it, I think she said, and Kiki definitely said, that they struggled to find a shade that was neutral. Now, my skin, I would say, is neutral. It's neither warm nor cool. It's a bit olivey. But I must say, I think this shade is lovely. Obviously, I've put it on the back of my hand, which is not reflective of my actual complexion colour. But as you can see, it's dried beautifully. It feels really beautiful on the skin, and I couldn't recommend it highly enough. Now, of course, it's very expensive, so I would suggest probably, if you're not desperate for a foundation, maybe add it to your cart, and then when Sephora or Look Fantastic or one of those sites has got a sale on, then jump on it. Oh, and Space NK as well. They all sell it, so it's definitely worth having a look at it anyway, or seeing if you can get little samples if you happen to go into the store as well. Right, let's talk about concealers. And I've got 2 high-ends and 1 drugstore. And I have talked about these before, but I've never done a best of and worst of products in a year. So I thought it was worth mentioning these. So I think it's worth me mentioning these. And the drugstore concealer is the IRL Filter Finish Concealer, this one here. I think that I first came across this possibly on Risa Does Makeup. She's a really great resource, I find, even though she's younger than me. She's just turned 50, I think. Her reviews are really comprehensive and useful, and she's always trying new products, so she's a really great resource, I think. And she talked about loving this, and even though her skin is oily, so it's quite different from mine, as well as being younger, she really swears by this, and I think it's a great concealer as well. Now, I've forgotten what shade I'm in. Oh, what's that? C something or other. Wait a minute, I need to put my glasses on. I'm in the shade C6, and let me swatch a bit for you. In fact, I'm going to swatch all 3 of them for you. It's got a kind of an angled doe foot, but I usually put concealer on the back of my hand anyway and then pick it up, because otherwise I find I put too much on. But I think this is a really lovely concealer. It's got a great consistency. It doesn't have any fragrance in it. And actually, I should have said at the outset, I'm allergic to fragrance. So I don't use any fragrance in my products. I have to scrutinise them. Actually, we'll come to that a bit later. I have to scrutinise the Inky list to the nth degree to check that A, it doesn't have any fragrance, because sometimes the word fragrance is used as a generic term in the ingredients list rather than separating out all the different elements of that fragrance. And I know what they are as well. I know what I'm allergic to. So it's things like geraniol and linalool and limonene and all these sort of things. But also I'm allergic to something that's got vanilla properties. So I have to steer clear of anything that has anything vanilla-ish in it. Anyway, very boring. Right, so that's the IRL concealer. And then one of my other favourites is the Hourglass Vanish. And this is a little mini, which I've actually nearly run out of now. I bought this, I think that was 2022 as well. But I think it's a great concealer. I'll just swatch a bit for you. I think you'll be surprised to see the different shades of concealer that I use. But to be honest, I don't really notice whether one's a bit darker or one's a bit lighter. Maybe it's just because I'm short-sighted, I don't know. But I think they're both great. The Vanish concealer, probably the consistency is a little bit better quality than the IRL, but the IRL is very good. In fact, it's what I'm wearing today. And then my final one is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD Concealer, this one here. And I think I'm right in saying that both the Vanish Concealer and the Makeup Forever were recommended by Andrea Ali. And let me just swatch a bit of that one for you. So there are all 3 of the concealers. The top one is the Revolution, followed by the Hourglass, followed by the Makeup Forever. Let me see if I can rub them in a little bit just to show you how they look. Yes, I'd say that the IRL has a thicker consistency than the other 2. Maybe that's a feature of using cheaper ingredients, I don't know. But if you're looking for a fuller coverage, then why not try the Revolution? It is very reasonably priced. And as I say, all the details will be down below for you. But as I remember it, it's probably not far off £5 or £6, whereas the other two are going to be in the £20 ballpark. Right, moving on to powder now. We're sort of going in order of application. And this is a recent discovery for me, and I have mentioned it in a previous video, although I've had it for a long time. And it's the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Powder. Now this is the one that Tamara, my lovely friend on YouTube of Tamara's Timeless Beauty, has been swearing by for many years. She likens it to fairy dust. And I was always a bit not sure about that. I was much more keen on my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder, which was very mattifying. But I've decided that actually on my mature 69-year-old skin, which by the way is a normal skin usually, although it's a bit dry at the moment, but my skin is normally normal, so to speak, I preferred the mattifying effect of the Charlotte Tilbury, but I've changed my mind. I think actually, and this is what I'm wearing today, I think that because I'm finding that I'm putting on maybe a little bit more powder than I used to, particularly my T-zone. I've noticed that my lovely creases here, my nasal labial folds, can get quite shiny. And I don't think it's a great look. So I prefer now to do my T-zone, including my nasal labial folds, with powder. And this is the product that I reach for every day at the moment. And I highly recommend it. Again, it's a pricey product. But do let me know in the comments if you know of a powder that would give a similar finish but is a drugstore version. I think I have a vague feeling I might have seen an e.l.f. one, but anyway, I'm going to research it because it would be good to find a drugstore equivalent. And I think this is in the £40 to £50 price range, so it is a pricey product, but worth checking out if you are in the market for a more luminous look from your powder. Now let's talk about blush, and here I do have a drugstore product actually, and this is the one I have reached for, particularly in the winter and spring months, and it's this. This is, I think it's called I-Meme. It's got a slightly difficult name to remember. It's not one that rolls off the tongue, and it's because it's a Korean product, and this was actually gifted to me. I think it was at the beginning of 2023, and it's by Stylevena. Well, in fact, it's not by Stylevena. Stylevena gifted it to me. Stylevena it's like a Sephora, I think, for Korean beauty product. Now, why do I like it? Well, first of all, the shades are beautiful, and I'm going to swatch them for you in a sec. But also, I love the fact that it's got 3 different shades. Now, normally I wouldn't choose this shade as a blusher at all. I wouldn't go near it. But because it's got that sort of apricot-y hue to it, it's kind of like wearing a very light bronzer almost, if you know what I mean. It gives you that sort of warmth. I mean, this is definitely more my colour, although again it's warmer than perhaps I would normally go for. And here you've got a nice cool pink, very pale pink in the middle, but together they just give such a fantastic effect on the cheeks. I will put some on my cheeks actually in a minute, but let me just swatch them for you. They feel beautiful as well. They're very, very velvety. And hopefully you can see those colours. I think they are absolutely gorgeous. And as I remember it, very reasonably priced. Now, I used to have a code. I had a code for about 2 months at the beginning of 2023, but that's long gone. But they often have sales, so it's definitely worth having a look. And also they are very reasonably priced anyway. So let me show you what I normally do. So I normally just swipe my brush along the 3 like this, and then just apply it to my cheeks like so. Now I have got some cream blush on, but actually if I were going to a do, as it were, and I wanted longevity, I would definitely put the powder blush over the cream blush. And I'll just blend that out. And there you go. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's such an easy to use palette. I love the colours. Of course there'll be other colours there as well, but I think I chose these colours from the choice that there was. And it's definitely worth having a look at them. Incredibly reasonably priced and a really lovely product. Now let's go on to cream blush, and actually what I'm going to do here is I'm going to be talking about 3 products: cream blush, cream bronzer and cream highlighter. And the reason I've lumped these together is because they're all from the same brand, and 2 of the products were gifted to me. I don't have a discount code, this isn't sponsored, but I thought I'd put them all together so that you are clear that I have been gifted a couple of these products, but I haven't been asked to talk about them. And actually Merit, which is the brand, didn't mean for me to choose the products that I'm going to talk about, because I misread their email, and it was when they were promoting their eyeshadows, and those were the ones that I was supposed to be getting, and I didn't. And I ended up getting a bronzer and a highlighter instead. But never mind. Let me tell you a little bit about the history with Merit. So I actually did a video, gosh, it must have been in the summer of 2023, where I bought the products with my own money. So I tested the complexion stick, the blusher, and I think it was the lip gloss. And I absolutely love the products, I really did. But I haven't chosen all of them today because the ones I'm reaching for the most are these 3. So let me tell you first about the blusher. So this is the one I have. All their products are cream. I don't think they have any powder products. And this is the shade that I've got. And this is Cheeky. Let me swatch a bit for you. So this is what I was wearing on my cheeks before I put the powder blusher over the top, and it's an absolutely beautiful shade. You can actually wear it on your lips as well. You can just quickly swipe it. I usually do, or I was swiping it before, but actually I've now started applying it with a brush just for sort of more careful application. But it's a really quick one and done blush, as it were, if you wanted to. And like I say, you can also use it on your lips. And I really love this, and it's what I reach for, not exactly on a daily basis, but almost. And the other 2 products, so this is the bronzer. I was gifted this, and I have it in the shade Clay. And let me swatch a bit for you. And I love this. So it's not super cool, but it's not orange either. And at the moment I'm applying it here, actually, a bit sort of classic contour shape, and then a little bit around the perimeter of my face. And actually today I've gone a bit J-Lo, and I've applied a bit under here as well, just to see whether it is going to give me a fuller lip. So I really, really love this product. And finally, a highlighter, which again, I'm not a great highlighter girl, but I really like the way this just sort of brightens the corners of my under eye, as it were, just below my under eye and the top of my cheekbones. And it's called Bounce. And that's it there. It's a kind of like a goldy, slightly goldy colour, but it seems to suit my complexion, even though my complexion is sort of leans cool and is quite neutral. So absolutely loving these 3 Merit products. 2 are gifted, 1 I bought with my own money. Now let's talk about eyebrows. And this is a real discovery for me. I've been on a bit of an eyebrow journey, and I did an eyebrow video a few months ago, and many of my lovely subscribers commented that actually my brows looked a bit dark. I don't know why I went down the dark eyebrow route really, but now I've realised the error of my ways, and I've gone a little bit lighter. Now, not super light, but a little bit lighter. And the pencil that I've been using, and it's a very new to me one, is the Hourglass Arch Brow. And I actually went into my local Space NK store, and the sales assistant recommended this particular pencil. And that's the colour I'm wearing at the moment. I think it's called Chocolate or something, but it's not actually that dark brown. Now, interestingly, I did a Get Ready With Me for New Year's Eve video recently, and one of my lovely subscribers commented that actually I could even go a bit lighter than I have. So I may well try that. But anyway, I'm loving this pencil. It's really easy to use. It's got a nice angled side to it, although actually I think I've been pressing quite hard on it, so it's not quite as angled as it was, but it just goes on beautifully. It's nice and waxy, and I'm really enjoying using it. Now, you may be surprised to learn that I don't have any eyeshadows in my favourite, and that's because I haven't bought that many in 2023. I bought a few liquid eyeshadows, which I like, but I don't reach for them all the time. I have got the Merit eyeshadows, which were the ones they were trying to promote, and I have been playing about with them, but I can't say they're my favourites at the moment. And the eyeshadow palette that I bought, the Natasha Denona Glam palette, I don't know, I like it, but I don't know that it's something I'd say was my favourite. I'm slightly annoyed with myself that I didn't wait and buy the I Need a Nude palette, which I think would have been better, because there are just too many shimmers in the Glam palette for me, really. But it is beautiful. but I don't think it's a palette that I reach for on a daily basis. In fact, if I had to reach for a palette on a daily basis, I'd still be going back to my Macstack £9 palettes, which I've had for about 3 or 4 years. But you've probably heard me talk about those anyway, and they're certainly not new. In fact, I have a feeling the format that they're in has been discontinued, and they've got similar ones, but they're not quite the same colours. So no point in me going on about how fab they are. But I am in the market for a more neutral palette. I mean, one of the ones I'm coveting actually is the Makeup by Mario, I think it is, matte palette. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but anyway, at the moment I don't have a favourite palette or even a cream or liquid eyeshadow, but I do have favourite mascaras. Now, I had an eye operation recently and I had to throw away all my mascaras that I had been using. My surgeon told me I needed to do that, and I'll just show you what they are because I haven't actually thrown them yet because I wanted to do this video. And they are, first of all, the Rare Beauty mascara, which I bought as a little mini in 2022, which I did really like. I love the thick brush. I think the problem with the Rare Beauty, although I did like it, it's because it's a mini, it's not as easy, I think, to apply with a shorter wand. So I did like it, but I'm not sure I'd repurchase it currently, given the favourites that I do have. I love the Chantecaille Fossil mascara, which again I had to throw away. This was a subscriber suggested mascara, and it's absolutely great. You do get the va-va-voom and you get the lengthening as well. This is a smaller brush, not quite as thick, but very, very good and easily removable. Really loved that. Not cheap, of course. Chantecaille is a very expensive brand. In fact, this is probably the most expensive mascara I've ever bought, but I would consider repurchasing it at some point. The Hourglass mascara, the Caution Extreme Lash, I've had this for a long time. I did like it. I wasn't using it every day, but had to chuck this one. Again, the brush is a little bit like the Chantecaille. Yeah, I liked it. Don't know if it would be an absolute fave of 2023, but I did like it. And then the two Holy Grail high-end mascaras, which I have repurchased. One is the YSL Lash Clash. This one here, a nice thick brush. You definitely get the va-va-voom look with that one. And my other Holy Grail is the Macstack by MAC. Now, this is an interesting brush. It's more rubbery than the Lash Clash. Again, it gives a good va-va-voom lash. And then at the drugstore end, I'm still really loving the Maybelline Sky High mascara, which is also a rubbery wand. Your lashes aren't quite as va-va-voom with this mascara, but it is really good, I think. And you do get lots of separation, and of course it's incredibly reasonably priced as well. Actually, completely forgot to mention in the brow section, this Control Freak by NYX, which is a brow gel. I really love this. It's so easy to apply. It comes in a wand, and you literally, I've got it on today, you literally just apply it to your lashes like that. And it takes 2 seconds really for each brow, like 5 seconds. But it is really good, very reasonably priced, really easy to use, so really loving that. Now let's talk about lips, and first of all, let's talk about what I'm wearing on my lips at the moment. And it is a Huda Beauty liquid lipstick, this one here. I think I'm in the shade, I think it begins with a P. Let me just check, does it begin with a P? Oh yeah, Persistent, I think it's called. Slightly strange name. Anyway, let me swatch it for you. I absolutely love this. Let me know what you think. I know a lot of you aren't that keen on liquid lipsticks, but I love the staying power, but I also love the way it looks. I am more of a matte kind of lip girl, although I do occasionally gravitate to a slightly more glistening lip, but I think maybe in the winter I particularly like a matte lipstick, and it really does have staying power. Now, just to mention something interesting that Charlotte Holdcroft mentioned recently on her channel, that apparently there's been some research, I don't know who did this research, and who paid for it, but apparently women in the US are much more concerned with the staying power of a lipstick than we in the UK. And I must say, I probably agree with that from my own personal experience anyways. I'm not actually that bothered about the staying power. I want to know that it looks good when I put it on, then I can always reapply. But actually this one really does have staying power, because I had breakfast after I'd applied it the other day and it was still there, virtually looking exactly the same as it had been. It's that sort of rosy, dusky rose shade. And talking of dusky rose, this is a very old one which I've got to chuck, but it's still one of my favourites, and I'm going to repurchase it by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And that's this one here. I think it's actually called Dusty Rose, and again, I absolutely love it. And I think the longevity is as good as the Huda Beauty. Now, I haven't chosen the two Lisa Eldridge Velveteen lipsticks, even though I love them. The shades I don't reach for quite as often as I do these two. These are much more my sort of everyday shades that I love, whereas the Velveteens I might wear at the weekend or if I'm going out in the evening because they're maybe a bit stronger. And I have got a video on them which I'll link down below for you if you want to see that. Now, talking of Lisa Eldridge, this is my most repurchased Lisa Eldridge lipstick, and you can see that this has gone right down to the bottom of the bullet, and this is Velvet Muse. I absolutely love this lipstick. I think this is my second one, so I need to get a third. And I'll swatch that for you. This is a slightly warmer colour, I'd say, than the other two, but it's a really great everyday lipstick. And you can apply it with your fingers, you can apply it straight from the bullet. It's just a beautiful, beautiful colour, and I think it suits most skin tones. And another Lisa Eldridge, which I've just about run out of as well, is the, I've forgotten what she calls her lip glosses now. Let me swatch a bit for you there. It's very dry now, but I absolutely love this lip gloss. And that's it there. I've forgotten the shade, and actually it's rubbed off the bottom of the bottle, but it's this one here. I really love it. I think it's a great everyday colour again. I quite like applying it just to my bottom lip, or the centre of my bottom lip. And while we're on the subject of lip glosses, I have another one, also by Merit actually, which I bought myself, and this is in the shade Mapleton. I think they call it a gelée. I'll put that next to the Lisa Eldridge. It's a lovely colour to wear for every day, but they do give a nice shine to the lips without it being over the top. And finally, another Merit product, which I bought myself as well, and this is the lipstick in the shade Baby. Right, let me swatch that for you. Now, this is a lighter colour, also a bit warm. And I sometimes put this over the top of a lipstick that's a little bit too dark, just to lighten it a bit. It's a lovely colour. This has pretty good staying power, actually, I'd say. So again, a lovely everyday lipstick. Now, let's talk about the fails. And I know some of this might be a little bit controversial, but of course, these are only my opinions. And often they are fails, not of the product, but just because it doesn't suit me. It might be because I'm allergic to it or for other reasons. So please don't take this as a criticism of any of the products. They just didn't work for me. Now, the first one is the Clinique Lash Power Mascara, this one here. Now, I was really looking forward to trying this because I wanted to find a mascara that was easy to remove because of this eye operation that I'd had, and I'm not supposed to rub my eyes too much. I have to be super careful now when I'm taking my mascara off. So I thought this would be great because it's a tubing mascara and you're only supposed to need warm water to remove it. Well, there are two reasons I didn't like it. First of all, I thought it looked awful on my lashes. I don't think it did anything for them at all. And second of all, I could not remove it with warm water. In fact, I struggled to remove it at all. So I don't know whether I was doing something wrong. And I do use a microfiber cloth, but I just couldn't get it off at all. And I'm really disappointed, but sadly, this one was a definite fail for me. The next fail is this Charlotte Tilbury Lip Blur in the shade Pillow Talk. Now, it's not the shade that's a fail for me, because actually I did quite like it. But unfortunately, as I mentioned earlier, I'm allergic to anything that's got a vanilla ingredient in it. And actually, you can kind of smell vanilla, sort of. It's got a bit of an odd scent, that. So unfortunately, I can't wear it. And actually, I didn't find it to be that pleasant a product to use, because it's a kind of a mixture, and maybe not a very successful one, between a liquid lipstick and a regular lipstick, but it just doesn't have the same sort of quality somehow as a liquid lipstick. So it's not perfectly drying. And I did try applying it with my fingers as well before I discovered that I was allergic to it. And it just didn't work for me, but it is a nice shade. As you can see, it's not that dissimilar to the other shades I've shown you in my other lipsticks that were good for me. So I'm afraid it just didn't work for me. Now, another product that I actually really loved, but I'm allergic to, is the Revolution Fast Base Blush. Why it has fragrance in it, I don't know, because I used it for quite some time and then realised it had fragrance in it and wondered why my dandruff had come back in droves. So unfortunately, I've had to give it up, but it is a really lovely product, very reasonably priced. Gorgeous shade, look at that, absolutely lovely. Would actually rival the Merit, I would say, as a cream blush, but sadly I can't wear it. Now, another fail for me, or not exactly a fail, but not quite the product that I thought it would be, is the Bye Bye Under Eye by IT Cosmetics. Now, this is a very thick concealer and it comes in a tube, which again is quite an unusual thing for a concealer, I would say. And the only way that I managed to use it was by, in fact, it's even quite difficult to get out of the tube. I mean, maybe that's the point, is you can't get much out at a time. But it's very, very thick. And I suppose if you wanted a medium to full coverage concealer, it would be fine. And actually for a concealer, if you were concealing blemishes, so for example, when I had blemishes, I used to use the Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage, which was really good, actually, really good. And I can remember the assistant in the store, I think it was Space NK where I bought it years ago, said that you shouldn't use it under your under eyes because it might be a bit too thick, although I did do actually. But I think this is more of a Laura Mercier Secret Camouflage type concealer. So I'm not chucking it, I'm definitely keeping it. And I think if you could probably shear it out, but it's not an easy application. And I find that I want a product that's easy to use. I don't want to have to spend ages fiddling around with it, making sure that it's all right and using something else with it in order to make it work. I don't really want that. I want a product that I can use straight away, that's easy to use, easy to apply and looks great. And this isn't it, I'm afraid. However, I'm not going to get rid of it because I think it's a decent shade for me. And I have used it and it's okay, but I don't love it. Now, I recently had my brows laminated, and honestly, if you've never thought about doing it, I can highly recommend it. I really think that it's helped me to look after my brows better. It's basically just having them straightened. Now, when I have them straightened, what happens is if you don't put a product in it afterwards, it can look a bit odd because some of the hairs fall down. So in the salon, I was recommended to buy this HD brow glue. I'm sorry to say it didn't work for me at all. I actually found it really sticky and unpleasant actually. And I found that just using a brow gel like the one I showed earlier, the NYX, is absolutely fine. You really do not need a glue. I mean, maybe if you had very thick brows that you'd had straightened, maybe you would do. Honestly, I didn't enjoy using this at all. This is the tube here. I think it was quite pricey as well. It was £16. And you can see, look, you can see it's a glue. No, didn't like that at all. Don't see the point of it for me anyway. Now, while I was on my quest to find a lighter brow product, I bought this Brow Pro Micro by Rimmel. And honestly, I found it impossible. In fact, I was trying to use it yesterday and the pencil broke off. But the colour is so, oh look, broken off again. See, absolutely hopeless. The idea was I was going to use this because it's a bit lighter, but oh, absolute disaster. Going in the bin. And finally, going right back to the beginning again, a primer. And this is the Milk Hydra Grip Primer. Now, when I was on my quest to find a primer that would work, I found this. I'd actually bought it a while ago and found this and thought I'll try this because I'd been watching Alexandra Arnell and her video, and she's the one who recommended the Smashbox Primerizer. But she did also talk about this and I thought, well, I'll give it a go. Unfortunately for me, it's completely the wrong primer. It's much too sticky. This is really formulated for oily skins, and I don't think it says that on the description. It might be fantastic for oily skins, but unfortunately for me, it just isn't. You can see that it's quite a different consistency from the Primerizer. And it feels nice on the skin, it's quite cooling, but when it dries, it's very, very sticky. And actually what happened was when I put foundation over the top, it just kind of broke up and really didn't work for me at all. So there you have it. Those are my best and worst makeup products of 2023. Let me know in the comments, are any of these your faves or your fails? I'd love to know, because that not only helps the fantastic group of people who support my channel, but also helps to inform me as to what I should try next. And if you haven't already, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up and hit the notification bell. And if you can't get enough of me, I have a monthly newsletter that you can subscribe to, and the link to subscribe to it will be in the description box below. And in that, I don't just talk about beauty, fashion and lifestyle, but also music, books, film, theatre and podcasts, and all the other bits and bobs that make us happy. And if you'd like to watch another couple of videos of mine, I'm going to pop up a couple here that you might enjoy. And thank you so much for watching. It means the absolute world to me. It really does. You make an old broad very happy. And I hope you're all doing really well. and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!